First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahushai Ba'Hashem, Rakakwadash. Yahweh is who this world ignorantly calls God. Yahushai is who this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Ba'Hashem means in the name, Rakah means spirit, and Kodash means holy. And that's all in the Paleo Hebrew. I also want to give double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. In today's video, I want to go into how another glory is coming. And I'm specifically making this video, to the brothers out there doing the work, Lord willing, the part of the 144,000. And, I want to tell each brother out there doing the work, another glory is coming, right? For the teachers and for all the believers in general, another glory is coming, right? And that glory is going to far surpass anything that you can possibly imagine and anything that you have ever sacrificed in this world. Right? Yahweh Shai said that those that have sacrificed, children, a mother, father, a wife, in the kingdom, they're going to receive 100-fold. Right? So a greater kingdom is coming, and that's what we have our eyes upon, is the kingdom. Right? We are supposed to be in the kingdom mindset. But dealing with the brothers specifically this video, I'm going to start at 1 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 26. It says, "For ye see your calling, brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called. But God hath chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and God hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty." Right, and that's the key point, is that, when the Most High first wakes you up to your walk, to your duty on this earth, to be a prophet, right? You look at your life and you're like, hey, I'm nobody special. I'm just another, Israelite doing, just another Israelite walking around Babylon. And one day I came across this information and boom, my mind was opened up and I had an urge, I had an itch to learn more and more and more. And now I'm in this position where I know so much where I can teach others. That's how it evolves. And as it says, not many wise men, many mighty, and not many noble are called. Right? The Most High doesn't call a super gazillionaire, to start teaching the word. Okay, he calls just a regular brother to start preaching. But guess what? He chosen the foolish things of the world, right? The so-called foolish men of this world, to confound the wise. Right? So the wise would be your so-called scholars, your so-called theologians that go to seminary schools. Right? These are your so-called wise of the world. But the Most High is not dealing with the so-called wisdom of this world. Right? It says that the wisdom of this world is foolishness to this Most High. Right? And the true, wise, the true, strong and mighty, okay, are those lowly. And guess what? Right? That's exactly how it's supposed to be. And because of that fact, many people are gonna look down on you. Right? Yahweh Shai said that, a prophet is not known, or a prophet is not accepted, in his own city. And that's what I wanted to deal with in this video, is that another glory is coming. Right? Soon these people are going to see you for who you actually are. Right? A prophet of the Heavenly Father. Right? And in that day, there's not going to be any second guessing whether the Most High is real, whether what you are saying is real. It's going to be known. Because we're going to have those new bodies and that spiritual power to do anything we literally want. So, let's read this one more time. It says, "But God hath chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and God hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. And base things of the world, and things which are despised hath God chosen, yea, and things which are not, to bring to naught things that are." And that's what we're doing right now, is we're confounding, right, the word, or not the word, but we're confounding the religions of today's society with the true gospel. Right? We're bringing these things to naught. Okay, as soon as the brothers started going out here preaching on the highways and byways, people started questioning Christianity more and more and more. The so-called form of Christianity that's taught today, right? Roman Catholicism. And that's what you see if you search up on any site. Christianity is the fastest decreasing religion, because people are realizing that it's just flawed in multiple ways. It's not the truth. And as soon as they're realizing that they've been lied to their entire lives, and it just makes sense that it's a lie, they're just departing, realizing, I can't deal with that no more. Yeah, I don't believe in no hell. I don't believe Mary was a virgin. I don't believe, everybody is going to be saved. Salvation is for all nations, right? Once you start going into the actual logistics of the scriptures, you realize the whole church is wrong. And, how did this come about? Through the prophets, through those men, those foolish, those weak, are we're confounding the things which are mighty in this world. Okay, and when you go into Revelation, it talks about those three spirits, those unclean spirits. Um, One was like a dragon, the other one was the beast, and the other one was the false prophet. And that these unclean spirits, control the world. And that false prophet spirit is dealing with the Roman Catholic Church, okay, the Vatican. And that's one of the heavy strongholds that today we are dismantling. Day by day, minute by minute, every single time a video goes out, and we are dismantling, that false prophet. So let's read this in Luke chapter 22 and verse 29, going into a part of that glory that is coming for his men. And it says, "And I appoint unto you a kingdom as my." I'll start at verse 28. It says, "Ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations." Right? Well, who is he talking to? He's talking to his disciples. Okay, those men that teach. It says, "And I appoint unto you a kingdom as my Father hath appointed unto me, that ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel." And that's the real glory, is being at a position of complete power in this coming kingdom. Right? The 144,000 are going to be judges over the 12 tribes of Israel and over the entire earth and all these universes. Right? And, when you look at, what that entitles, the significance of that, that's when the scriptures that Paul wrote, such as, "Hey, this is a light affliction compared to the glory that we shall receive." That's when those type of scriptures make sense. Because what is immortality? What is mortality to immortality? What is 100 years to immortality? Right? Nothing. So you can't compare, what we're going through to what the Most High has promised. Right? What's promised for the 144,000 is, being at the top of the kingdom. Right? Being those judges and those rulers. Because there is going to be a hierarchy and a structure in the kingdom of heaven, just as there's been in every single kingdom before. Right? That's just the way the Most High has ordained it. So let's read this in Revelation 14, going into those 144,000. It says, "And I looked, and lo, a Lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung as they were a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth." Right? And that song that they were singing is dealing with this word, okay, the gospel. Okay, only the 144,000 are going to be able to break down this Bible correctly. And Lord willing, I'm a part of that number. It says, "These are they which were not defiled with woman, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb." Right? When it's dealing with, not being defiled with women, it's dealing with philosophy. Okay, the word that they spake was pure, right, as virgins. Okay, that's what it's dealing with. "And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God." Right? And an easy way, that's talking about, that's not literal, is, look at the disciples. You're telling me that all the disciples were eunuchs? No, they weren't. All the disciples weren't eunuchs. They all had regular lives. I think Paul was a tent maker. They all had regular occupations, and with that comes women. So, you're telling me that the disciples of Yahushua weren't part of the 144,000? So that's another way to debunk that. But 144,000, they're singing a song that nobody else can sing. And for singing that song that nobody else can sing, and nobody else wants to take the responsibility of singing, they are going to receive a heavy recompense, a heavy prize. This is Jeremiah chapter 16 and verse 16. I'll start at verse 15 or 14. It says, "Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that it shall no more be said, Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. Right? And that's the coming glory that is coming. Right? And every single time I've read the scripture, it makes me realize that I always look at this and I say, we don't know the Lord by this title yet. So what does that mean? It means it hasn't happened yet. So what does that mean? It means that the children of Israel are still scattered, and that great deliverance is going to come from the land of the north. North America, Babylon the Great. So this is coming in the future, and that's what we're looking forward to. Now, before that, it says this, Behold, I will send for many fishers, saith Yahweh, and they shall fish them. And after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes of the rocks. Right? And we are in this portion right now. Okay, the Lord has sent for many fishers, okay, to fish the elect. And those fishers is dealing with the 144,000. Okay, videos such as these are the bait, the hook, to get the elect out there. We're casting it into the internet. This word, is being thrown out there via the internet. And that net is catching the fish. As Yahushua told Peter, I think it was Peter or James, he said, hey, come with me. I have made you fishers of men. So, after the fishing is done, and after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes of the rocks. And that's that coming next glory, is we are going to become those hunters. Right? Those fishers are going to become hunters via the spiritual power, and we are going to grab all these people hiding, these elites hiding, and put them in captivity. Okay, we can read that in Isaiah chapter 26 in the last verse. 24, my bad. Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 21, it says, And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall punish the hosts of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth, right, the elites. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pits, and they shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited. Right, so we're going to gather them up via the spiritual power and put them in chains, okay, in captivity. And that's just the way it is. That's the righteous recompense, the righteous balance for what all these other nations have done to us, the Israelites, so-called Latinos, Negroes, and Native Americans. So, just wanted to touch on that quickly. Hopefully this was uplifting and boosting your spirit, and keeps you in mind that a new glory is coming, and that this work is going to pay off. Hopefully this is edifying. Without to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Shalom to you, like Shalom.